This is Tom Rust for TRSB Sports Podcast today. Delighted to be joined by boxer Nicola Hopewell. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. We was just saying, obviously you've had a busy day training hard, so we appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all.
How's all your training going?
Yeah, it's going really good. It's going really good. I'm really enjoying it. I've not been at the gym that long actually. I've moved gyms this year. So I've only been there a few months. But yeah, it's going really well, settled in really well. There's a good bunch of lads there as well. I'm the only girl there, which I'm not used to. Like at my old gym, I was like the only girl to start with, the only female, and then we got a good group. But now at this gym, I'm the only female again. So, but yeah, they were a good bunch. So I'm really enjoying it.
Plenty of good sparring there.
Yeah.
And how did you get your boxing name?
My friend, she had a little bit to do with it. She came to see one of my amateur fights a few years ago, and she just commented on the style, and she just called me Hurricane. Hurricane Hopewell, she called me. So it just kind of stuck, really.
Yeah, that's often the case, isn't it? Someone will make a comment and it just fits. I've got to ask you, I saw you speaking in another interview about waiting to hear back from the British Boxing Board of Control about getting your licence. When are you likely to hear back?
Well, since then, I have heard back from it. I got referred for my medical, so I passed the interview stage, being for my medical. I went for that on Friday. I've not heard anything yet, but like my coach says, no news is good news. Hopefully we should hear back in next week or so.
Yeah.
So 100%. Once I get that back, should be all right.
Fingers crossed for you. And we often hear boxers talk about turning over as a professional. I know it's a little bit different in your situation, but what is that process like?
It's been going to the British Boxing Board. It's been a longer process than what I thought it was going to be. So obviously I filled all my application, everything in. I went for the interview. I had to wait for that to then go to the board, and then I've had to wait for my medical to come through, and then I've got to wait again for that to be signed off. Where previously, when I went with Bieber, it wasn't like a long process, like a few weeks, and you were done and you were out there. But I don't mind the process, because to me there's a process for a reason. So I don't mind, and like when the time's right and I'm all signed off and everything, I'll be good to go. I've been using the time wise. I've been in the gym, I've been getting extra pads, I've been getting extra sparring, so I've been getting fitter, so I've used the time.
And why was it sort of this time the right time to make that decision?
I just felt it. I don't know. I just felt it was right in myself. So from me looking at other boxers, I was seeing, because I boxed like a good amateur level, went on the England pathway, everything like that. But then in the past 12 months, I've been seeing girls who didn't have much amateur experience, had like the same amount of professional experience as what I had, and they're getting called up to on Matchroom and Boxer and Sky and everything like that, where I was with Bieber, I'd never get that opportunity. So I was seeing girls that, like, I'd boxed, I'd won in the amateurs, and they're all like flying past me because I was restricted for where I could box.
And what do you make of the landscape at the moment? Because, of course, as you just mentioned, there's so many promoters now. You've obviously got Eddie Hearn with DAZN, Frank Warren, and Sky recently linking up with Boxer. At the moment, if one of those come calling, where would you like to be? What platform would you want to fight on?
I'd love to go on Matchroom or Boxer, either one of them. I think because I'm not with any of them, I think if any of them come calling, like that'd just be a dream come true for me. So either of them.
You have to get Ebanie to tap Eddie Hearn up for you.
Yeah, for a good wording for me, abs.
And I've got to ask you as well, we know that at the moment women's boxing is absolutely on fire. So many great fights and so many women headlining shows. I think it's fair to say still a male-dominated sport. So, but how quickly are you looking to progress?
At my weight, there's not that many girls. So I'd hope to progress quite quickly. And my team around me and my manager believe that I can move quite quickly. So yeah, hopefully.
So with obviously your team around you, I look, looking at your social media, you seem incredibly content with the people that are around you. So taking the right fights at the right time, how far can you go in the sport?
I think I could get a world title eventually at the right time. Obviously, got to build myself up properly, and take the right fights at the right time. But I think eventually I could do it.
Because of course, we see some female fighters, like maybe in their 5th, 6th fight, challenge for a world title. I suppose once you get your license and then take a few fights, then it'll be something you can obviously judge. And I suppose the goal post always moving in your career as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think you just got to take it one fight at a time. See how it goes. I think, not sure, like my first fight, I've not fought since October, so it's a few months now. So maybe just get that bit of ring rust off and then see where we go.
And looking at your social media as well, it's clear to see that you've got a good relationship with Ebanie Bridges. How did that start?
A few years ago now, we just started talking to each other on like Instagram and Twitter, social media really. And then last year when she fought Shannon Courtney, we're obviously talking to her all the time. We used to speak most days. And then she came over to box Shannon, and she ended up staying at like my house for nearly a week. We ended up going to Liverpool, York, Leeds. We went all over like the UK, just touring around a little bit. So we spent quite a lot of time together, and we've just been close ever since.
How pleasing was it for you then to see her win a world title?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I went to the fight as well. I know, like, ringside, and watched it. And honestly, I was so happy for her. Like, all the sacrifices that she makes and all the hard work she puts in. It's really good to see. I was really proud of her.
Yeah, no, it was a great fight. Very pleased for Mark Tibbs as well. We've had him on the channel before. Great chat. And for yourself as well, obviously, it feels like it's like a new sort of beginning for you. I know you've boxed previously and you're undefeated, but does it feel like that for you?
Yeah, it does a little bit because, I've done my amateur stuff. I went professional with Bieber and I was undefeated. So I had 6 fights, won 5 with KO. I won my 6th one on points. But I'm starting again now, like with the British Boxing Board. My record goes back to 0. So it's a brand new start.
And having Ebanie as a close friend to yourself, how valuable will that be for you? So if you want any advice along the way, you've got her at the other end of a phone.
Oh yeah, like honestly, she's always at the end of the phone. If I ever have any questions about anything, she does help me. She drops things and helps me straight away. So yeah, it's very useful.
And looking at yourself as well, I know you haven't always boxed. There'll be people watching this interview that know you, know your background. There'll be people coming across you for the first time. Can you just tell us a little bit about your route into the sport?
So I've not always boxed. I used to be a dancer. So from age 5 to 16, I used to do Latin and ballroom dancing. Got like loads of trophies and medals and stuff for that. Then I had a bit of a break, started work, doing my A-levels, worked my way up to be an assistant manager where I am now. And then when I finally got there, I came across the boxing gym, went to boxing and started amateur. I think I had 32 amateur fights and 123. Did a year on like the England talent pathway, where I went to all the sparring camps and stuff. Then I turned professional.
And what sort of reaction do you get from family at the time when you're looking to go pro, people you meet for the first time when you tell them that you're a professional boxer?
When I very first started boxing, everyone were really shocked. And like, obviously, all my family knew that I boxed and stuff like that. And then when I turned professional, again, there was like as shocked as they were when I said I was going to have my first ever fight, my first amateur fight. But some people do look at me sometimes like, oh, you're never a boxer. You're never a boxer. You don't box. But I'm like, yeah, I do. Honestly.
It's funny because we speak to so many female fighters on this channel, and men as well. Actually, you look at boxing. It's for such a brutal sport. Some of the nicest people we've come across.
That's true. I think that's true. And obviously, just like me talking to like Ebanie and the other boxers that I speak to, just normal people. Just It's just a skill when you're in the ring, isn't it?
And with your dancing background, I know from dancing to boxing, it's a complete contrast when you look at the sport itself. But how much has that helped you with your boxing? Because I would imagine, I don't know what dance you did previously, but how much has that helped you with your footwork and your movement?
Yeah, to be honest, everyone kind of comments on how like good my footwork and my movement around the ring is and my balance and stuff. And I feel like all that came from the dancing background. The footwork really helped me.
And again, going back to how well women's boxing is doing at the minute, there might be females watching this video, you know, younger people, older people. What advice would you give to them if they're a little bit on the fence, a little bit apprehensive about going to a gym and trying out the sport?
If you're a bit on the fence, I say just get yourself out there, go and try it. You don't know you don't know that you don't like it unless you go try it. But I think once you try it and you get the bug for it, that's how I was. I was a little bit apprehensive. I didn't know if to go or not. I was really anxious, and then being the only female in the gym, like that unnerves you a little bit, but you soon settle in. Once you find your feet, you just gotta give it time to settle in.
And how important was it for you as well to, you know, you spoke about building up your career outside of boxing. How important was that for you to do that and not just solely focus on boxing?
I feel like you need something to fall back on, because I think there's a few up and coming boxers that you see and they're boxing full time. They don't have anything to fall back on. Where I built my career up as well as the boxing. I've always got that to fall back on now, and I work in like for a good retailer as well, so I've got their support. But yeah, you need something to fall back on, I'd say.
How do you manage it then? Are you full-time boxer now, or are you a bit of both still?
No, I work full time, so I work 39 hours a week as well as doing boxing. So yeah, I have to juggle my time and have to use my time really well. Yeah, do a run in the morning. Well, when I'm in camp, do my runs in the morning, go to work, and then I will do my boxing at night time. And then make sure I get enough rest and stuff before I start again the next day.
How tough is that? Because you know, you 39 hours a week, full-time job in retail. Imagine, you know, maybe you're on your feet all day with that. And
yeah,
you've got to train, and of course as well, you know, you've got to make weight, so you can't just grab convenience food on the way back. I suppose it's quite planned out. But how do you manage all of that?
you've got to be organised, and you've got to prep what you're going to eat, and like you've got to prep your food what you're going to eat the next day so I can take it to work with me. I think I'm juggling it quite well at the minute, but it's because I'm in a routine. At the very beginning, it was a bit of a struggle. But yeah, when I'm in a camp, I'm in a routine, I'm fine. It's just day by day. It's just normal stuff for me. It's just normal routine.
No, it's incredible. You know, hats off to you, working full time, professional boxer, and you know, you've not even got a date at the moment. But you know, from our conversations on the phone, you're still working incredibly hard.
Yeah, I'm still working if I get the phone call, because I don't know when it's going to be signed off. I don't know when my debut is going to be. I'm hoping I'd get some notice, but if I don't get much notice, at least I'm fit enough to go. So,
and looking at boxing as a whole at the moment, men and women, what fighters out there do you like?
Obviously I like watching Ebanie.
Of course,
I can't wait for the Savannah Marshall fight with Carissa. Katie Taylor fight against Amanda Serrano. Can't wait for that. Men, I like watching Canelo. I'm looking forward to the Fury fight. Not sure about the undercard, but I'm looking forward to watching Fury.
He's got a lot of stick, hasn't he, Frank Warren, from the undercard. I'm sure it will be, but I hope the main event will be an absolute brilliant fight, because I think sometimes if the main event is a brilliant fight, then almost people will let you get away with the undercard.
Kind of get the undercard a little bit, don't you? You kind of let them off for it.
Did you see the TalkSport interview with Frank Warren and Dillian White's lawyer the other week?
No, I haven't. No, I've not seen it.
You've got to watch it. So Simon Jordan and Jim White do a show between 10 and 1. I'm a massive fan of it. And sometimes I like put it all around the house on the Alexas. It drives the family mad, because I'll be in the kitchen and I'll go up to the bedroom and I'll just put it on. But they got Frank Warren on and Dillian White's lawyer, and they were talking about the contract, which always surprises me because, you know, I sometimes think, you know, it's great for us because we want to hear it, but those things should be dealt with, you know, behind closed doors. But clearly they're not talking. But yeah, if you get a minute, I definitely recommend it. It's very
I'll have a
interesting.
listen.
100%. And what's your predictions for, you know, you mentioned the big fights, Katie Taylor, Serrano. I think that's at the end of this month as well. Savannah Marshall. What's your predictions on those fights?
Savannah, I think Savannah wins Clarissa. I think she's a big puncher. I think she's too much. Katie Taylor, I really want Katie to win. I like her as a person and what she's done for the sport, and I'm hoping she does win. But I'm not ruling out Amanda Serrano. Not going to rule her out.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen on that fight. I think as much as I want Katie to win, I think anything can happen. Yeah.
And up until this point, what's been the fights you've enjoyed so far this year?
Oh, I've got to go for Ebanie's, obviously, because I would.
You're not biased at all, are you?
I'm not biased at all. No.
No, it was a great fight.
I liked the whole card as well. I liked watching Josh's fight. That was exciting. And I'm really liking watching Sky Nicholson. She was on that card as well, but she fought the other week as well, and that was a good fight.
What do you make of Raven Chapman, just signed recently with Frank Warren?
Oh, yeah. I rate Raven. I like Raven Chapman, yeah.
And I saw you got your moment of fame as well. I think I don't know if it was that fight or a fight last year. You was on telly. I saw the clip.
Yes, that was when Ebanie took me to Liverpool, and it was the show that Katie Taylor boxed on in Liverpool. I got 10 seconds on this when we're walking in the building.
Well, fingers crossed. We obviously hope you get one of those big promoters and a TV platform so you can get a lot longer on camera. And what do you when you look to make your, again, it's not your pro debut, but your British Boxing Board of Control pro debut, for people watching, what sort of fighter should they expect to see?
I'm an exciting fighter. I come forward fighter. I don't back off very often. So yeah, I like to get stuck in, make it exciting.
And is your style more suited to the pro game?
I think so. I think I was very amateur style. And I was when I turned professional as well. But I think gradually I've changed and adapted more to the pro style. Yeah.
And when you train as well, you said that you're the only lady in the gym. Do you still train sparring 2-minute rounds or 3-minute rounds, or is it to obviously naturally prepare you for a 2-minute round?
When I spar, and they've taught me out sparring a few times. When I spar in twos. But when we're in the gym, if we do it, because we do bags, we do pads, everything, and like any circuits that we do, like bag circuits and anything like that, I join in with the threes. It not done it, yeah. But when I spar twos, because I think sparring the twos is a lot different, because that makes you more aware of how long's left of the round, and you're actually sparring. You're not doing like a bag drill or a bag round or something like that. Yeah,
of course, makes sense. Now, one of the reasons why we love doing this podcast is because for people watching, they can find out about yourself, what to expect come fight night. But away from boxing, what do you enjoy doing?
Ooh, I like doing I do still like doing active stuff. So like now the summer's coming, I'll be going out on my bike and exploring like the countryside and stuff on my bike. I like going walks. Yeah, just like I'm still quite active. Still like doing active stuff.
Always on the move.
Yeah, I'm always on the move. If I'm not running about, I'm having a nice walk or a bike ride or something.
Best TV series you watched recently?
Oh,
I'm always on the lookout for a recommendation.
I've been watching Killing Eve.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to catch up on a little bit on that though, because I'm a little bit behind than what's on the TV. But I do like Killing Eve.
Anything else?
No, don't think I've really watched much else, to be honest, recently.
And what about holiday destinations?
Oh,
now the sun's coming out, makes you feel about going away.
Yeah, I like the Canary Islands. In Alcudia, I like it in Alcudia. So.
And just before we let you go, anything else you'd like to add?
just a big shout out really to everyone that supported me and my sponsors. Like, I've got. Am I allowed to name them?
Yeah, fill your boots.
Well, there's Anytime Fitness, so they help me with like additional gym sessions around outside the boxing gym. I've got the Mallard, which is a local pub in Worksop. They sponsor me. Got JTM Building, BRS Electrical, and 7 Core Electrical. So I've got a shed in my garden, and they fitted that out. I converted it into a gym, and they fitted out all the electrics and stuff for that.
That's brilliant.
Richards Boxing, Goodwin Racing, and then EV2 that do all my kit and my training wear. So I've got a lot of support, and they've continued to support me as well.
You weren't lying. You've got a few sponsors there. And just, talking about sponsors, the further you go on in your career, at some point, you spoke about working 39 hours a week. If you get to a point, would you look to reduce that or just focus on your boxing full time?
Yeah, I'd love to reduce it. Even if it were even an hour or 2 hours a day. It just gives me that extra rest time between the sessions. I think I'd still do the amount. It'd just be the rest period in between instead of rushing about from everywhere. So yeah, I hope maybe one day I could reduce it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I suppose again it's one of those things you'll have to look at in time. But listen, we're really grateful for you coming on. Again, we know you're a very busy lady, working hard and training hard. You certainly can't question your work ethic. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to following your career and hopefully catch up with you soon after you fight.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Have a nice evening.
You too.
All the best.
Thanks.